When the 761st Tank Battalion was finally sent to the front, what happened next changed history. It sounded like a simple statement, another unit assigned to another battlefield. But in November of 1944, in the bitter cold of northeastern France, this arrival marked something unprecedented. An all-black American tank battalion, trained, tested, and ready, finally unleashed into combat after years of segregation and doubt. For months, they had trained harder than any armored unit in the U.S. Army. For years, they had waited while others fought. And on November 7, 1944, near the French-German border, the men of the 761st Tank Battalion, the Black Panthers, were ordered forward. The battlefield. Morville-lès-Vic. The mission. Break through German defensive lines supporting the 26th Infantry Division. Little did they know, what would happen in the next few days would turn their name into legend. To understand the weight of this moment, we must step back, long before the 761st reached Europe. The story begins with segregation, skepticism, and a fight to serve a nation that did not yet fully accept them. The 761st Tank Battalion was activated on April 1, 1942, at Camp Claiborne, Louisiana. Their commander, Lieutenant Colonel Paul L. Bates, a white officer, instantly recognized their potential. He demanded excellence, and they delivered it. They trained endlessly with M4A3 Sherman tanks, learning every bolt, every gear, every weak point. Gunners drilled with 75 mm cannons, loaders practiced until their hands bled, and drivers mastered terrain navigation in mud, rain, and dust. But despite their performance, higher command, deeply influenced by racial bias, refused to deploy them. They waited. And waited. For over 2 years. Morale could have collapsed. Instead, determination hardened. Among the men was Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers, a fearless tank commander with unmatched instincts. There was Corporal Harry T. Shields, precise with a cannon. And Private First Class Samuel Turley, known for fixing any mechanical failure under fire. They were soldiers. Professionals. And they were ready. Everything changed when General George S. Patton inspected them in 1944. Patton, known for his bluntness, looked them in the eyes and said, "I don't care what color you are, as long as you're willing to fight." And the 761st was more than willing. By early November, the situation on the Western Front was deteriorating. Germany was reinforcing its lines in the Lorraine region with Panzergrenadier units, 88 mm guns, and pockets of veteran infantry. The 26th Infantry Division, fighting desperately to push eastward, needed armored support. Patton issued the order. Send in the 761st. The men knew this moment would define them, not just as soldiers, but as pioneers in history. On November 7, as the battalion moved toward Morville-lès-Vic, the sky was gray, the air frigid, and visibility low. German reconnaissance units had already spotted their approach. Little did the 761st know, the enemy waiting for them was dug in deeper than intelligence suggested. Ahead of them lay a maze of German defenses, minefields, camouflaged Pak-40 anti-tank guns, and machine gun nests. The terrain was soft, muddy, and uneven. Perfect killing ground for the defenders. Communications crackled through radio headsets. Panther tanks reported east of the village. Enemy infantry in fortified houses. Expect heavy resistance. But there was no turning back. At 1400 hours, the Germans opened fire. Artillery shells screamed overhead, slamming into the ground just yards from the Shermans. The deafening roar shook the earth. Inside the tanks, crews felt each impact rattle through steel hulls. Mud splashed against periscopes. Smoke mixed with the freezing air. Visibility dropped to almost nothing. Still, they pushed forward. "Load he," a gunner shouted. He loaded, the loader barked back. German infantry had taken shelter in a stone farmhouse just 200 yards ahead. Machine gun tracers ricocheted off the Sherman's armor plates. The first 75 mm round smashed into the building, stone exploded outward. The second silenced the position completely. But this was only the beginning. To the north, German Panzer Grenadiers regrouped for a counterattack. They carried Panzerfaust 60 anti-tank launchers, deadly at close range. The 761st Infantry support was stretched thin. Tank crews knew, if the Germans got within 30 yards, the Shermans could be crippled one by one. The radio crackled again. Asterisk enemy armor moving. Multiple tracks approaching. Asterisk. And then, the real threat arrived. Through the fog, a Panzer IV rolled into view, its long-barreled 75 mm cannon aimed directly at the Black Panther's lead tank. Driver, hard left. The Sherman's treads dug into the mud, swinging the hull just as the Panzer fired. The German shell sliced through the air, missing by inches. The 761st returned fire. Their round struck the Panzer's lower glacis plate, sparks erupted. The second round penetrated. The Panzer went still. A cheer rose in the radio net. But the celebration lasted barely 5 seconds. Because another threat was already approaching. The crisis hit all at once. German artillery shifted its fire with terrifying precision. Mortar rounds crashed around them, ripping through infantry support units. 2 Shermans hit mines, tracks blown apart, hulls immobilized. Worse, an 88 mm flak gun had been positioned on a ridge overlooking the battlefield. The dreaded 88. The tank killer. Its first shot pierced a Sherman at 900 yards. Fire erupted from the turret ring. "Get them out! Get them out!" a tanker screamed over the radio. Then came the order no commander wants to give. Asterisk all units, hold your ground. Asterisk. They were exposed. Pinned down. Taking casualties. And still expected to advance. The men of the 761st realized they were being funneled into a kill zone. And this was when Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers, already known for his fearlessness, made a decision that defied all logic. His tank had struck a mine earlier that morning. Shrapnel tore into his right leg. Medics ordered him evacuated. Rivers refused. He wrapped his own wound, climbed back into his tank, and said, "I ain't going nowhere." Now, with the battalion pinned, Rivers took command of the lead element. Asterisk, follow me. Asterisk. His Sherman surged forward, straight into enemy fire. The 88 fired again. A burst of flame. A thunderous crack. The round blasted into the ground just feet from Rivers' tank. His gunner responded instantly, firing at the muzzle flash. The shell missed by feet, but it forced the German crew to duck. Rivers advanced. Another Sherman joined him. Then another. The battalion was no longer stalled, they were moving. But the cost was rising. Casualties mounted. Infantry units supporting the tanks had been reduced by nearly 40% in some companies. Several tank commanders were wounded or killed. Fuel was running low. Ammunition was nearly depleted. Communications were breaking down. They were outnumbered. Outgunned. And dangerously exposed. And yet, they refused to yield. The battalion held its line for hours, fending off German infantry, repelling armor, and coordinating with artillery. But the decisive moment was still ahead. The moment that would enter military legend. At 0900 hours on November 8th, the 26th Infantry Division issued a final order. Asterisk, break the German line at Morville-lès-Vic, at all costs. Asterisk. The 761st would spearhead the assault. This time, they wouldn't just support the attack. They would lead it. The battalion regrouped, battered, low on supplies, exhausted, but unbroken. Lieutenant Colonel Bates rode at the front, refusing to let his men fight alone. Rivers' tank again took point position. His leg was worsening, blood soaking through the bandages. He ignored it. At 1100 hours, the Shermans roared forward. The German line, so confident the previous day, began to crack. Shermans blasted through fortified walls. Infantry followed close behind, clearing trenches. The 88mm gun that had caused such devastation was finally spotted. Rivers immediately engaged. Target. Fire. The Sherman's round struck the shield plate. The second round silenced it for good. But German reinforcements were rushing in, panzer grenadiers, machine gun teams, mortar squads. The fighting devolved into chaos. And then came the moment that defined the battalion forever. As the battalion advanced, Rivers spotted another concealed 88mm gun preparing to fire on Lieutenant Colonel Bates' tank column. He knew what would happen if he didn't act. Despite orders to fall back, Rivers pushed forward, fully exposing his tank. I see them. I'll draw their fire. The German crew fired first. The round tore through Rivers' Sherman. Smoke poured out. Flames erupted. The tank went still. Reuben Rivers, tank commander, leader, hero, was gone. His sacrifice allowed the rest of the column to advance untouched. They destroyed the gun moments later. His final act saved dozens of lives, and ensured the mission would succeed. By the evening of November 8th, the German line at Morville-lès-Vic collapsed. The 761st Tank Battalion had achieved the breakthrough. The cost was staggering. Over 34 tank crew casualties in 48 hours. Several Shermans destroyed or disabled. Infantry losses severe across the sector. But the victory opened the road east, toward Metz, the Saar, and eventually the German border. And the 761st wasn't done. They would go on to fight for 183 straight days, participating in the Battle of the Bulge, the liberation of Eastern Europe, and the advance into Austria. Recognition came slowly, far too slowly. But it did come. In 1977, Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. The battalion itself received a Presidential Unit Citation for extraordinary heroism. Commanders who fought with them would later write, "They were some of the best tankers I ever saw. They fought with courage equal to any unit. Their service shattered racial assumptions and paved the way for the desegregation of the U.S. military." Today, their legacy stands as a testament not just to military excellence, but to human resilience. They fought two battles simultaneously, the enemy in front of them, and the prejudice behind them. And they won both. This was just one of countless untold stories from the Second World War. Subscribe to World War II Records as we continue to bring these forgotten chapters of history back to life.